Hello and welcome to this training video showing how to complete the EEO IBP application in the Nova platform. This is the first year that this grant is using Nova. So if you're unfamiliar with the system, this is Nova. I'll log in real quick. It is a system used by a lot of different funds and grants at the Chancellor's office, as you can see from the bar over here. If you don't have a Nova account yet, the first thing to do is get one. We're going to go ahead and hit request access to Nova down here. We're going to choose, let's say we're with Cabrillo, call it, or Cabrillo CCD maybe. And because we are here about the EEO IBP, Equal Opportunity Employment Innovative Best Practices grant, we're going to choose that as the program, and then we're going to choose the application things. If you have any comments, additional information down there, we hit add this request, we come back up here, we say, oh yeah, that looks right, we want Cabrillo CCD, EEO IBP, application, put your name, email, and then help desk will get this and usually set up an account within about a day. So, first things first, let's go, once you have an account, you can then log into Nova. I'm going to switch over to what's called Sandbox. This is Production Nova, which you can see by my big banner. That means it's the real Nova. Sandbox is the version we use. You can see the URL just has Sandbox in front of it. It's the version we use for testing and demos. It doesn't matter what you do in here. It's a good place to learn how to do things. So let's go down to EEO IBP, which is going to be here on the program list on the side. This is competitive applications, so we're going to go ahead and choose the applications right here. And then you can see that the following funds are open for submissions, EEO IBP. So we're going to go ahead and hit create application up here. And let's say test EEO IBP. And let's say we're with Lassen CCD. I believe this grant is only to community college districts. So this is now what's called the application workflow. Nova generally works on workflows. This workflow has five sections, not including preview and submit. Essentially, you complete the sections, then you hit preview and submit, you submit, and you're done with this plan. So let's go through the sections. First things first, I like to point out the guidance text. This has been put in by the program leads. It's usually very, very helpful and pretty necessary to figure out how to fill out this application correctly. It's on every page, as you can see, so make sure you review the guidance text. For the details page, the only thing we really have to do is the assurances tab. So once you click this down here, you'll see it moves to completed from incomplete. It's the only thing to do on the details section. See, the contacts page, there are 4 required contacts down here. So let's talk about what they are. Because I made the application, because I was the one that's hit create application, the system's automatically making me the project lead contact. Project lead is the person that makes applications, submits applications, fills them out. The same person is going to be responsible primarily for any updates once the application is approved or throughout the life of it, as well as they're going to have the ability to submit, to fill it and submit fiscal reports for this application as well. So project lead's going to have access to edit and submit generally anything with this application or the follow-along plans and reports. The alternate project lead has the same types of roles, they just can't submit anything. They can edit, they can make changes, they will not be able to submit anything. The institution fiscal reporter here, they have the ability to edit and submit just the fiscal reports. They have no role in the application, and when the application becomes kind of a living plan through the duration of the grant, the fiscal report approver still has no role in editing that. The only time these people get involved is When we're actually talking about expense reporting, down here, expense reporting and kind of outcomes reporting that comes on fiscal reports. A lot of times it's somebody from the budget office. And then the last role here is the fiscal report approver. Now this is also usually somebody from the budget office. Unlike the other three roles we've talked about, the fiscal report approver doesn't fill out or submit anything. These people will get an email when the fiscal report is approved. This is always someone from the local level. So this is what we call a local approver. That means it's from the college or district, in this case district. And the fiscal report approver gets an email when the fiscal report has been submitted, and they're the person that goes in for the college and does the one final check off and approves it. It's usually the CBO or somebody at that kind of role where they're an oversight and final check before the chancellor's office gets the final expense report. Or final fiscal report, final fiscal report. So I'm going to go ahead and, just for the sake of right now, make myself all of these things. It is absolutely not normal. Usually you have different people signed up for different roles, but this is a demo, and I'm just going to do it this way. All right, now you've seen it added all four of the roles. They all are me, which again, don't recommend. But since I've filled out all the roles, this section is now completed, and we can move on to the budget section. Now, like I mentioned before, the fiscal report approver has an approval role after the fiscal reports have been submitted. So does the fund monitor down here. You don't have to do anything, but Crystal, if you guys ever are curious, Crystal's in here as the fund monitor. She has an approval role in a lot of these as well, and is generally the person to talk to with programmatic questions. So that's right here in the contacts page, is the person at the chancellor's office that's serving in that role. All right, for the budget. Again, read the guidance text. It's very important in this application. What you can apply for, and you'll notice there is no limit, but what you can apply for depends on where you fall. So read this, and that'll give you direction on how to fill out your budget, or how much to fill out your budget for, I should say. And then budget narrative, a high-level description. Just tell us how you're spending the money, what you're primarily using it for. This is a 2-year grant spanning these 2 fiscal years. And NOVA has this budget by fiscal year, but it's not that tricky. Say I'm going to spend, let's say we are, what are the 2 options here? Maximum allowed is 300 or the maximum allowed is 200. Let's say we are a school that is allowed to apply for 300. I'm going to go ahead and start a budget. The way you build a budget is piece by piece. So salaries, please provide a lot of description here. I am not. Do not follow my example. It is not a good one. But you generally fill out description, what the object code is, what the amount is, and this is how you build a budget. It's piece by piece. So let's say we have another $25,000 in supplies and now we've gone ahead and put 100,000 in there. Let's go ahead and put a little bit more, and let's say we are. One thing to point out here is that indirect is calculated not as one of the others. One of the things that a lot of programs do is directly limit indirect. So it's not part of any of the other object codes, just treat it its own thing. Let's say 5,000, or let's say indirect. Say we're doing 5,000 indirect. You'll notice that it's its own object code. It's not part of the 1 to 7,000, and it shows up here. So just treat indirect as its own thing. We always do, because we tend to carve it out in most programs. Then we're going to go ahead and here to 24-25, and you can build it from scratch again the same way we did in 23-24, or you can hit this copy from previous year button. Just to shortcut a little bit of time here. We still have 90 grand to spend from our potential $300,000 budget. Again, please provide more information than this. This application would never be funded. Um, all right, so, but that's how you generally fill out a budget. You can see we've hit 300. You don't need to ask for 300. I believe it's up to is the language. Maximum award is up to. NOVA will not stop you from applying for 290. Usually we say, why bother? Just apply for the amount that you can. But NOVA's not going to stop you. So the next section here, once you finished your budget, is the application narrative and work plan. Again, read the guidance text. It's very, very important, especially on this one. And so we'll go up here and we'll fill this out. I'm not going to put real answers in. I'm just testing the functionality. If you have questions that are not addressed by the guidance text or by what's called the helper text, which is this right here, please contact your program leads. But let's just go ahead and fill this out. You can see this one. This is a multiple choice question here. Depending on which answer you want to fill out, the follow-up question is going to change. I believe this is covered in the guidance text with this to be or. So you can see I'm going to click, let's say this one. Gonna put my answer in. Keep putting answers in. Major goals. Maximum response is 5,000. Activities. And again, you're just going to fill this out, follow the prompts, answer the questions, and then when we're all done, you'll see this move to completed and we're good to go. One thing I do point out, because this is kind of a little bit longer of a step, if you see up in the right hand corner here, this is what we call the error stepper. And essentially, if you are missing something and you click on it, it'll show you exactly what you're missing. It is not subtle. Management commitments, the next section here. Again, read the guidance text. Fill out the prompts. Same thing here. Just make sure you read it. They've done a really good job of putting detail in this. And as you can see, we have now completed all of our application steps here. Everything's marked as completed. We're all done. We can go ahead and hit submit here. And yay, it's all done. Oh no, I forgot something. And if I did forget something, I can hit unsubmit. I can go ahead and it'll allow me to move it back in a draft form, and I can keep doing this as many times as I wanted to. The trick here, of course, is that the deadline for this grant is the deadline, which means if it is sitting here in draft form at the deadline, this will not be submitted. So if you're going to make changes, make sure you button it back up and resubmit it when you're done, because this is how you want it to live when you're done with it. One other thing to point out, this is pretty common, is you'll notice that, let's say I add some detail here, I go work on some other part of the application, and I come back, and what I typed in is still there. Everything, in fact, that we've typed in so far is still here. Nova automatically saves everything the second you type it in. It's like, or about a half second. It's possible to trick the system if you move very, very fast, but generally it types everything, or it saves everything as you are typing it in. So you don't have to worry about like stepping away from this or collaborating with other people. Either way, you can work on this with someone, make sure you're not working on the same section at the same time, but you can trade back and forth pretty easily or stop and start again later. So again, when you're ready to hit submit and leave it like this. And that is the application. Again, if you have any questions, the best place for technical help is to hit this help prompt down here, hit submit support request, fill out this form. This is your best option for any technical issues you might have. If you have other help needs, programmatic in nature, you can contact the program leads for this project or for this program. And that is it. Thank you very much.